Boy, do we got a hot one off the presses tonight, guys. Yeah, chapter 912 came out yesterday, and boy, did I enjoy this chapter. It was a really good chapter. Yeah, chapter 912 is titled Amasagi Village, which apparently means like straw hat. Like they're a village that renowned for making straw hats, weaving them, other things amongst that. But yeah, it's the name of the title. So we get the chapter cover again. This time it's a color spread. I think he's doing two or three. Because there's 20th anniversary of Shonen Jump, and then 21st anniversary of One Piece. Big anniversaries going on. I'm not positive again how when. I was gonna look into that more, but I wanted to get the chapter out. Talk about that later. We'll see if more color spreads come out. If not, we'll get back to the cover pages. We'll be seeing more of Orlumbus, which his adventure hasn't been crazy yet, but a lot of people are speculating that maybe something big's gonna happen that's gonna play a role later in the story within his cover story, which is cool. Love the cover stories; they're a big enjoyment for me. But yeah, so here, give you a view of the color spread. Really enjoyed it. It seems like he's going for an Olympic theme with everything that's going on right now. Olympics are going to be coming to Japan, I believe, 2020, and couldn't be more excited for all the stuff going on there. I'm sure, but no, it's a really cool color page. I dig Zoro with the, the three bats. Sanji definitely blue walk in the water would be a Phelps, Michael Phelps type quality speed racing right there. Nami playing tennis seems right up her alley. I could see her doing that. I gotta love Brooke in the background. He's got a soccer ball for a head now, and he's probably kicking his head into the goal. And then you got Frankie slam dunking hoops in the back, and Chopper as a boxer. Cute little chibi Tanuki. Then Usopp's apparently doing skill shooting, and Robin is doing some kind of horseback. What do they call it? There's another term for it that is eluding me, but yeah, they're getting their game on, and Luffy's gonna do karate. So the first panel, we cut right back to where we left off in the chapter. It's Luffy and the samurai he just ran into in o-tama talking about Ace, and how o-tama knows Ace, and they're like, that guy Ace is who o-tama's been waiting for, and Luffy is like, was his name Porcus the Ace? He's trying to ask Tama, and she kind of comes through her sickness, and she wakes up to answer him and is like, "You know him, big bro? You know Ace?" And Luffy just tells her, "Yeah." Straight face, because he knows about Ace. And the samurai, he has like a gruffer look, because I feel like he may have felt that it's how pirates' lives go. A lot of them die, and Luffy just deadpan tells her he's dead. And I mean, that's harsh for this girl who seems like she's got some promise Ace is holding to her, but he's accepted it finally. He's very serious about it, and it doesn't seem to affect him as harshly anymore. But he's still very serious about it. But yeah, the samurai dude, he's not too stoked on that. She starts freaking out. She's just, "You're lying. You're nothing but a liar." Luffy isn't a liar. He's one of the most honest people that you'll see in One Piece. Just who he is. He's tried lying. He's tried sneaking in marine bases. He's tried doing a bunch of covert missions. No, the Straw Hats are a small crew. They really should be doing special ops missions rather than trying to fight everything head on. I mean, I love fighter manga. I love to see him fight everything on, but that's how they should. But yeah, Luffy's not a liar. But she doesn't know him at this point. But she's upset. Ace is obviously someone important to her at this point. So she passes out again. She just honks out, and Luffy's like, "So Ace came to Wano country at some point. He's like, he knows it's very difficult to get here. It's very closed off. It's kind of interesting that Ace ended up here at some point. I said in a couple of reviews ago that we already know Ace has been to Wano, but it's still interesting that, there's quite a few people who know about it. Like, Luffy runs into two people who know right off the bat. So it runs the question, one, why Ace was on Wano in the first place, if they were just stopping by, if they were trying to reach it, or if they got, marooned on the island for a while until they could, get provisions to head back out to sea. But we do know he's been on Wano, so it seemed to have a profound effect on o-tama. So it seems like we're going to learn a bit more about that in this chapter, which we do. So he starts freaking out at Luffy while she's unconscious again. He's like, are you some kind of bastard, you demon? Like, what's wrong with you? She's a little girl, man. You can't just drop mind-blowing knowledge, something that she's obviously been holding on to since he was there, just like it's any old news. Even Luffy, when it happened in front of him, he lost his marbles for almost 2 weeks. So they expect anyone else to just take that news lightly. But granted, Luffy knows that pretty much most of the world reads a newspaper at this point. They get the queues or whatever that fly all over and drop off newspapers. That's all people a part of the world government. That's all people who are involved and supported by the world government. Wano is not. It's separated. So they really have no idea what happened at the Summit War or any of that. They may get inklings of information that leak through, but most of it isn't really privy to them. They're disinterested. They're separated from the world. But yeah, so he kind of breaks it down to Luffy that, there's a point in time when you should tell a child stuff like this. And Luffy's kind of not getting he's cut the BS, just be up front, why hide and lie stuff. That's stuff that frustrates him about the world. But we get to see actually who this guy is, what the samurai's name is. His name's Tenguyama. And so we actually get to see what this guy's name is and who he is and learn a bit more about him. We get this little panel and it tells us his name's Tenguyama Hitetsu. He's a bladesmith, and like right off the bat, I kind of started relating him with Kitetsu. Just his name is so similar, and it's old Japanese, and so they pass on a lot of the same names, similar names. But he's like, who exactly are you, insensitive man? He's towering over Luffy. I mean, Luffy's gonna be way more stronger than him. I mean, he's stronger than most people are bigger than him. He's gonna fight Kaido at some point in this arc. But I just love how small Luffy always is to everybody. This dude's just ginormous above him. And Luffy just being Luffy is just like, I'm Luffy, the man who's gonna be king of the pirates. And who exactly are you, old man? And the guy just starts yelling. He's like, a pirate? I never liked him. Never cared. Y'all scum from what I've seen. But yeah, so his name's Hitetsu, and he tells us that, he's a bladesmith, and he's been waiting here also for someone. So runs the question, who is Hitetsu waiting for? If he's not waiting for Ace, who else is he waiting for? And, I like the theory, because everyone wants to relate after Whole Cake Island that this arc's going to be a Zoro-centric arc. It's going to be centered around him. I don't think it's going to be the focal point of him. I think at most times Luffy's going to be the forefront, and it's mostly about what people of the world are going through. Sometimes they like to tie in some backstories, but really I felt like that was just a special case for Sanji. He didn't really have a ton. Usopp's got the whole Yasop thing going on where he's supposed to probably run into him. Nami's been covered. People want more from that. I think you'll tarnish her mother's name, or her foster mother. What is her name? Yeah, tarnish Bellamir's name. And, Bellamir's story and how important she is to Nami and how much she influenced the type of person Nami is. If you just add a parent in there, it's really going to distract from how powerful and impactful she was to Nami and really try and make her out to be some other character that is really relative to her, or, even focusing on making him a scumbag. Then you're just emulating other stories. It's like, really, I think Sanji's was the only one that got flushed out real good, and I don't think anyone else really needs more. But I like the idea if you want to tie in some Zoro into Wano with all the swords and samurai and the honor. To me, I like the idea. I've heard theories that Zoro's teacher is actually from Wano, and he has strong connections. And he's also part of the Revolutionary Army. Uh, that's another theory in it. But all that aside, just him being from Wano, I like that. And maybe he's waiting for him. You know, we learned some other stuff in this chapter I'm going to get into. But I like the idea that that's who Hitetsu's waiting for to come back. That's just where I'm going to take my leap at my stab at it. But there's plenty of other people. He could just be waiting for a swordsman. Maybe he's waiting for one of the Kazuki clan to come and show themselves to him. What if it's Odin himself? Maybe he's waiting specifically for Odin and he doesn't tell anyone that. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of people who were supposed to be showing up in this arc at some point, and the Straw Hats just got here, and so it only runs more questions. So it gives us a bit more insight in what's going on in Amasagi Village, and I've been saying Amasagi, it's Amigasa. Amigasa Village. Let's correct that right here and now. Yeah, so it's a village where they used to make straw hats. It seems that was more the profession or what the town was renowned for. But it's just o-tama and Hitetsu who live here. The whole village is tarnished, demolished, just beat up. And he talks about how X Drake, new headliner at the time, joined Kaido's force about a year ago. And the five samurai that apparently guarded this village were all defeated. The entire village was destroyed. It was probably once some form of initiation for X Drake to actually prove his worth to Kaido. But X Drake came and demolished this village, and to me it was some kind of initiation. And Hitetsu gives us a bit more information also about overall Wano's situation with Kaido's encampment here. The flower capital where Orochi, the shogun, and Kaido kind of reside is the only place that's prosperous right now. It's the only really beautiful place. Everywhere else is just war-torn or, a wasteland. And it's all because Kaido's came here and took advantage of the shogun and the whole situation of what's going on with Wano. And he's essentially using this country to fuel his industry as a pirate. And the shogun is just profiting off of it to his own extent. And everyone else kind of just is suffering here. It's, to me, almost similar in ways, because, this is supposed to be old, archaic Japan. Like, it's supposed to be how the empires were ran, the overall hierarchy, the systems. A lot of the people didn't have power and were left from contact from the rest of the world. But for current reference, it's kind of like how North Korea is now, where, a lot of people don't know what's going on inside. They don't really know at all what's going on outside. And so it just leaves people wondering, what the situation is. Everyone's kind of just sitting on their thumbs. But in reality, the people there are suffering, and it's all for the extent of a 1% group. And everything looks good on the outside, all the scenes they want people to see, like the flower capital. It's a good front for the rest of the country, but everything else is just, stuffed under the rug and hidden. So he goes on to say, like, about 4 years ago, the people in the village were living in famine. Like, there wasn't enough food. There was no water, really. There was nothing for them to even trade to try and get food. But they were really suffering and starving. They were about at their wits' end when a pirate ship washed ashore, and they tied up the pirates because they were apparently fatigued and tired, and they stole all the water and food, and the villagers ate, and finally, they were going to survive their situation. And then apparently the pirates, which we see here is Ace and his crew, had set this whole situation up from the beginning. They knew that the village was suffering and hurting bad, and they knew that they were probably too prideful to take their kindness. So instead, they allowed them a situation where they could capture the pirates, take advantage of it while still upholding honor. And once the situation was dealt with, the whole crew just gets up and takes off their ropes, and the villagers get scared. They're like, "Oh man, the pirates are gonna take revenge on us." And Ace just says, "Where can I find some dessert?" And it's at that moment they realize that they were set up, that they're trying to help the village, but they just saved their lives, and so they let Ace and his crew stay for a couple weeks there with them, and apparently o-tama got very attached to them. So we get to see Luffy just beaming with joy here. He loves hearing about how great of a person Ace was, just the same as Ace would love hearing how Luffy's making a name for himself and all the good things Luffy was doing in the world. It's the type of people they are. They respect each other for their decisions in life, but also they're very similar. They just want to be free. You learn about that a lot in that mini arc where it's a flashback about just Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. But they're all just looking for freedom, and they want to support people in that, and they want to help people. If being a pirate means that, to them it's just adventure, And so Luffy's like, so that's how it was, That's all he needed, and he's just happy, He's just delighted to hear about his brother. So in the next page, they're looking for a doctor that's nearby to help o-tama, and Luffy's asking if there's any food or water or where you can find the doctor. He's like, I'll take Tama with me. He's dropping the O, which just is a classic Japanese naming system where it was used for a lot of women specifically, but he just calls her Tama for short already, and he just wants to repay her for feeding him. And Hitetsu's like, you can't just go out like that. So he gives him a whole outfit, and you get to check Luffy out in the kimono, and he's got the full-on top knot. Yeah, gotta love it, dude. You got Zoro with the top knot, now you got Luffy. Oda's just going all out with the Japan right now. I'm just loving it. But I dig the look, actually. I actually really dug Luffy's whole outfit for this arc. It's way different from what we've seen. The closest I can say is Punk Hazard, where he wears the long jacket. But anyways, he's going off about he's like, I like samurai kabuto armor way more, man. It's like, let me wear that. And Hitetsu just goes on to tell him, like, nobody would think you're normal just walking around in samurai armor. Like, that's just absurd. You're ready for war walking around. Like, you won't stand out nearly as much in this. And he's like, I can't go to town for certain reasons, which he leaves unstated, what are those reasons? Is he already wanted by by the Shogun, and is he already wanted by the Shogun and Kaido? Is he a part of Kinemon's samurais that he's gonna rally to help fight Kaido? Or, is he here lurking with other intentions? My guess is he's probably a part of Kinemon's army, and he's just being superstitious. And I wouldn't trust Luffy. Luffy hasn't talked about Kinemon. Everything is hush hush right now until Kinemon introduces this situation. But he's apparently done something that won't allow him to leave his homestead. So he tells Luffy, he's like, either go beg people for money, ask them to lend you money. Or he's like, if you run into some of my allies, then you won't even have to worry about paying. They'll take care of you. And then again, runs the question, who are his allies? To me, he could have tie-ins with Kaido's army. It could even be one of the worst generation that, isn't supporting Kaido, but is working under him because they're forced to. They're working with the situation. They could be trying to work with the samurai already, Or, again, it could be Kinemon and his samurai squadron. So Luffy's like, all right, well, I'm going to grab this sword real quick because, it fits the whole samurai outfit. I'll blend in better. And, okay, we're out of here. And the whole time, Hitetsu's like, hey, wait. Don't take that sword. You shouldn't even touch that thing recklessly. He's like, it was made by my ancestor Kotetsu, and a world-renowned. It was made by my ancestor Kotetsu, and it's a world-renowned blade. So we're either seeing well, it tells us within the panel it's Nidai Kitetsu, which is the second Kitetsu blade. Zoro has the third Sandai Kitetsu, and we haven't seen each Ichidai Kitetsu. But we see Nidai, and apparently, you know, like I thought earlier because the similarity of the name, but Kitetsu and Hitetsu, yeah, are related. He's some form of grandson of his. He goes on to explain, you know, it's one of the 21 great grade swords, the one Wazimano grade. I'll have to look up what the actual grades are in Japanese, but it's the great grade sword. And yeah, he says its name is Nidai Kitetsu, which I literally just got done saying last chapter that, you know, I don't think they're really going to touch on the whole sword grading system anymore, because it's been left just barren for arcs and arcs and arcs. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of chapters that it's really not been referenced again. But here we are, you know, fourth chapter in the Wano, and it's first thing. But hey, if that's what's gonna happen, I'm down for it. I'm game. I already wanted to see dope swords. Let's start tying in with the actual grades. Let's see some of the superior grades and the great grades, and you can leave out just the you know, the standard grade, whatever, the renowned swords. But yeah, Oda gives us a little chart to kind of flashback to what he talked about years and years ago. He goes on to say, you know, there's many swords, or he's like, there's many blades, swords, spears, you know. So that leads me to think, you know, is Whitebeard's spear? Yeah, it's got to be some form of a graded sword. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a supreme grade. You know, the way he just slapped that thing around, and the type of pirate he is in the Prestige, it's got to be one of those. He just kind of breaks it down again. He's like, the 12 supreme grade swords, the 21 great grade swords, and the 50 skillful grade swords. So overall, there's 83 blades out there that have some form of grade that is specific to the quality and the renownedness of the sword. And so Luffy's just the quick solution. Well, then let me trade it for your sword. And Luffy doesn't know, you know, Zoro's blade's cursed. And even if Zoro told him, it's not like he's really holding on to that. It's, to him, literally, he just, oh, okay, well, then we'll just swap out swords. And Hitetsu's like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, like, I don't even want to touch that sword. He's like, that sword is also world renowned, but it's also a cursed sword. Like, don't get that thing near me. And so Luffy's like, I don't know what you want from me, man. He's like, God. It's like, you're being so picky. But the one thing Luffy did say is, he's like, the name sounds familiar. So, in a small inkling in the back of his head, he's thinking, I think Zoro has that sword or something. But literally, it's like, just like one neuron firing that is just... Etsu. The type of food? But, yeah, he, so yeah, he just takes off with the sword, and Hitetsu just, you know, screaming. He's like, you better you gotta return that thing. He's like, you know, if o-tama gets hurt, and Luffy's just like, yeah, dude, I got it. You know, we'll be fine. I've never had a problem before. I won't have a problem now. And Hitetsu's like, are you even listening? And then so it cuts over, and the dog shows up, and Luffy's like, oh, you're gonna give us a ride? You know, we've been trying to... Like, oh, you're gonna give us a ride? He's like, awesome, that's really convenient. Okay. They hop on and take off, and while riding, o-tama wakes up. She just back into it, still doesn't believe Luffy. She's like, you're a big fat liar, bro. She's like, Luffy's like, stop, you know, she's beating on him. She's like, Ace will definitely come back. And he's like, stop, we're gonna fall off or something. He's like, it's impossible. The whole world knows about the Summit War. Like I said earlier, you know, Wano's closed off from that, so they don't even know. And even if Hitetsu knows, he probably wasn't telling o-tama. As he said earlier, there's a time and a place and an age for everything. But, you know, Luffy is just trying to explain to her. He's like, I'm not lying to you. I was there. But o-tama keeps going on, you know. She stops hitting Luffy and just starts crying. And she's like, but he promised me. He said he would take me out to sea. And apparently Ace told her once she got to a certain age that, once she was strong enough that they would come back and, they would see her, and she's like, well, you'll let me join your crew, right? And Ace kind of just makes this quick deal with her, just like, pirates have to be really strong. If you become an enchanting kunoichi, by the time we come back, we'll take you with us. And his crew members like, Ace, does she really have to be enchanting? And yes, she does. I don't. I'm not positive. I think this is like the second time Ace has like hit on a younger child. I'm not sure which way Ace is leaning here. It's leaning towards creepy, but I don't think he meant super ill intent. Really, he's just saying, become a beautiful young lady who's strong, and we'll take you out to sea, and we'll go have fun. And she's back to beating the shit out of Luffy. She just starts pounding on his head again. She's like, you have no idea how kind Ace is. You wouldn't understand my hardship. And she's like, how can you say he's so dead casually? And Luffy's like, it doesn't hurt, but stop hitting me, please. It's just annoying. And o-tama, yeah, you have no idea the hardships Luffy went through. He definitely saw a hole in Ace. I mean, an Ace hole. I mean, Ace in the hole. No, yeah, he saw some real stuff, and he was way closer to Ace. Ace was definitely someone severely impactful in Luffy's life, but she doesn't know that. And so, Luffy's not going to beat her over the head about, who had it worse, but Luffy definitely. And so she just like, keep riding north and we'll break through the bamboo grove. And she's like, stretching out Luffy's face, and he's like, that long nosed geezer was right. And they bust out, and we get to see what General Wano looks like. We saw the awesome waterfall climb, we saw some beautiful trees, we saw the flower city that Orochi, the Shogun, and Kaido currently reside. We saw that, but now we get to see the reality of what's going on in Wano. And Luffy's like, it's really a wasteland. You get to see some factories off in the distance, billowing smoke. And just after that, we get to see the beautiful creatures that are all over Wano, and the not so beautiful. But no, there's a tiger and a boar, and then also there's a sharkadile, which, yeah, the hell is a sharkadile, but it looks cool. I didn't clip it, and I'm not taking time to go back and clip it at this moment. But definitely, they're all chasing each other like God, a turducken waiting to happen. But Luffy's like, tiger, wild boar, sharkadile. Dinner's gonna be interesting tonight. If only Sanji was here, he'd know how to cook this up all the right ways. But yeah, Luffy's getting hungry, and he's seeing all these rare wild creatures running around, taking them back to Ruskaina. And o-tama tells Luffy, like, you can't eat them. Even the strong samurai capable of catching something like that, when they eat it, they've been so polluted from the water in the river that they're extremely dangerous to eat. You'd have to have an amazing digestive tract. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Luffy. And you'd have to have some resilience to poison. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Luffy. And you'd have to be pretty dumb to try and eat a creature like that. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Luffy. But Luffy's like, what? They look so delicious, though. It's like, I just want to eat them. Like, they're just wandering all over in front of me. And we get some insight on what kind of factories, because I was wondering, I'm like, are they still producing Devil Fruit Smile or Sad, And o-tama tells us that there's a quarry and a weapon factory over there, and Kaido's underlings all work in this area. So they're essentially destroying the land to manufacture weapons for his crew. And the whole rest of the region, besides the Flower capital, looks like this. In some form or way, I'm sure they're pretty similar. There may be outlying cities that aren't quite affected the same way, but it seems like for the most part how they describe it is that a lot of Wano is like this right now, and one, I'm sure it's breaking the heart of the people, but two, it's literally killing them because of how sickening and how they're affecting the ecosystem there. That there's nothing they can do. They're just almost waiting to die. And Luffy has a valid question. He's like, well, then what do they eat? You know, the Shogun and Kaido, what do those guys do? And o-tama says, like, you know, they have their own personal unpolluted farms. Therefore, the area doesn't have polluted water. The rice is all good. They have fish and meat. And Luffy's just shocked. He's like, all I've seen is that I can't eat this and I can't do that, and there's only enough of this. He's like, there's actually a place with food, lots of it. And like Luffy just wants to go dead run there, but he's got Tama's interest in mind. And she keels over again, just again dealing with the pollution and the sickness from the water she's been trying to drink. And her fever's getting worse, so Luffy's like, oh, we gotta hurry. And there's some enemies in front of him, and so, you know, he thinks it's Kaido's men, and he's like, well, they have food and water, how convenient. Like, please forgive me. And he's like, wait, woman. And Luffy's like, wait, woman? Is that Sanji? There's one person I know that chases women even as they run screaming, and that's Sanji. And so Luffy looks off to the side to figure out what's going on. So he sees Kaido's men on their raptors chasing down this lady, and he goes, someone is running towards them. You see this little figure in the back. He's got like wind bursts coming off of his sword. And so we can assume it's a samurai of some sort, which Luffy goes on to do. Like, wow. He just cut both those raptors down and the crew gut members, and it was a single motion almost. He's like, they must be strong. Like, whoever that samurai is pretty powerful. So the lady running from Kaido's men's like, thank you so much. I don't know who you are, but thank you. I have to repay your kindness. And the samurai's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. And Luffy's like, whoa, who is this dude? And he goes on to say, he's like, wanted their booze, Gozaru. Which Gozaru, I tried figuring out like the actual meaning behind it, how it translates into English, and it's like to be, and it's an archaic like Japanese term that was used to like reference yourself rather than what you're going to become. It was kind of vague, but it seems like he's just saying, like, you know, he's using it to end his sentence in like a proper way. But she's like, I have to repay your kindness some way. And he's like, bring me booze then. And so at this point, I'm assuming, yeah, you know, it's Zoro. And so at this point, like, you know, dude with swords, cutting down people quick, looking for booze. Sounds like Zoro to me. And Luffy easily comes to that conclusion. He's like, hey, isn't that Zoro? And just by the bulging cheeks and the sake pouring from it, you can assume we have been reunited, and it feels so good with Zoro and Luffy. And what a great way to start off Wano is Zoro and Luffy shenanigans. I mean, these two together are the worst two. They literally almost try to divide them up in arcs because them together is just chaos incarnate. They literally work together too well and so poorly at the same time. But we get to see Zoro's full design. I mean, we've seen part of it during the seppuku blade chapter where, you know, he had a robe on and he was wearing the top knot. We get to see his full attire. He's got his 3 blades on him. We get to see Sandai Katetsu, and we get to see Shisui, and and the white flower, I can't think of that one's name, but it's Kuina's blade. But either way, We get to see Zoro holding a big jug of sake. You know, it's great stuff. And we got Zoro and Luffy, top knot bros, driving hand in hand to cause chaos. I mean, has destruction ever looked so good? And I love this panel right here. Zoro's excitement to see Luffy. I mean, they truly are like first mate brothers. Like, you know, they started this adventure pretty close together, and they just love they love the chaos that is adventure to a degree. I mean, Zoro's not really adventuring with Luffy just to adventure. He's trying to become the greatest swordsman, but they just have fun together, you know? And they really enjoy each other's company. And so, yeah, Zoro's super stoked to see Luffy. He's like, "You're finally here! Luffy, yeah, man! How's it been?" And Luffy just, like, clings on to Zoro. He just throws himself at him, and, you know, just the same way he did to Sabo in Dressrosa. And they're just so stoked. And, again, Zoro keeps using this Gozaru, so he's pretty into character at this point, if he's at least remembering to be proper, nonetheless. And Luffy just asks, "Oh, is everyone with you? You know, everyone's just following you around." And Zoro just explains, he's like, "Yeah, we got separated, but they'll probably be fine, you know." He doesn't really know, which, oh great, Usopp's probably hanging by his teeth. Well, no, he can lie, but Frankie, Robin, all them, you know, they could definitely be looking at some chaos, and who knows for Kinemon and all them. I think it's good that Zoro tried to distance himself from them. That's probably the right move, but he doesn't know at all what the situation's like. And Luffy just is like, "You got meat? Dude, I've been looking for food since I landed." And Zoro's like, "Oh yeah, man, there's tons of animals around. Have you not looked around?" He's like, "You can hunt whatever you want. You know, there's many fish, everything." And he's like, "You don't have to worry about being hungry at all. There's just a Garden of Eden of food." And Luffy's like, "Oh, nice. He's like, "You know, you should be careful though. The water around here is poisonous apparently." He's like, "I heard the animals and fish, they're poisonous too." So I was just like, God, wonder why I was coughing up so much blood earlier. See, so that's why my stomach's been hurting. God, man. It's like that scene where Sanji and Zoro are arguing. He's like, Sanji's like, "I'll put razor blades in your food next time." And Zoro's like, "Well, I always wondered if I could digest razor blades." Zoro just, you know, never harms him. You know, he'd get cut in half and he'd be like, "Just let me take a nap." So they move on. Luffy's like, "Zoro, come on, let's go. We gotta take this girl to a doctor." And Zoro's like, "Oh, this girl looks terrible." He's like, "Luffy, you shouldn't even be eating right now." And just before they can take off, we get a tie-in again, real quick. I didn't expect it this quick, but we get to see Hawkins and Luffy confront each other, and it's one of the few times I think they actually interact with each other ever. I don't think they interacted really on the archipelago. Like, Luffy knew who he was at that point, but I don't think he actually ran into him. They talked about each other a little. Luffy's like, "Oh, that's Hawkins, or he's a part of my generation. I know that guy somehow." Zoro, "Juro, are these your friends? You're a nationally wanted criminal." And he goes, "Oh." So the Straw Hats have arrived. He's like, "I was on my way to Curry Beach, but take it you're the criminal." He's like, "There's about a 98% chance that you're the guy I'm looking for, and it doesn't really matter. You know, you don't have to exactly be the guy I'm looking for, but if you don't conform, you don't follow my orders, if you disobey, have fun living your life hiding, because Kaido and my crew will hunt you down." And I really like this panel. Whatever the hell Hawkins is riding, this stag-looking spectral creature. I don't think it's spectral, but it just kind of reminds me of that to a degree, especially with the like flowing hair. It seems just wispy, but it's wicked. And then yeah, you got the two raptors side by side. It looks like either some of Kaido's men or Hawkins' men specifically. And we end off on this great panel. Like I said, gotta love the Zoro Luffy chapters. They're just always so fun. And Zoro's just like, "Luffy, Kinemon said this. Don't cause a disturbance." And Luffy's like, all right. We'll just apologize to him after. Good times, man. I really dug this chapter a bunch. So far, of all the ones I've reviewed, this has been my favorite. It was really fun to read, and it's been fun to talk about. I think I could do better, but you know, we're getting into it. We're getting into Wano, man, and what a great start. It's what a long-awaited team up, as Oda put it. The One Piece will be on break next week, so I'll just focus primarily on doing my normal chapter reviews from the older stuff, and maybe I'll look at even talking about some other stuff, maybe a theory or two or something. We'll see where things go. I'm also going to be doing streaming at Twitch TV/Snooberflurp. Check me out. But other than that, thanks guys. One Piece chapter 912 finished.